What have I got in the bag? What's in this fabric bag?
What is it? It's a Nikon Z mount teleconverter 1.4 that only works on the 70-200 Z mount lens at the moment.
For this test, we know the 70-200 is a beautiful lens.
It's a fantastic lens.
It's
Love it.
It's your favourite lens.
It is my favourite lens, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful lens. I love it. It's my favourite. So, after watching lots of YouTubers' videos about the teleconverter, couldn't wait to get it.
That's what we're going to do today. We're going to give it a proper good test.
Yeah.
We've compared it in other videos as well, but now we're going to give it a proper test,
Yeah.
comparing it to the 70-200 to see if are you better cropping in with that
Yeah.
than putting this extra bit of glass in between it, then cropping in.
It's like the slight reduction in quality the teleconverter gives you offsets the less amount of cropping that you need to do with it. So you end up in the same place, except you paid out over 500 quid.
Well, yeah, traditionally teleconverters have always been awful.
Yeah.
I've had the history of them and they've all been rubbish. I'd rather just shoot with the native lens and crop in. So with the Z system though, it seems to break these boundaries. So it'd be interesting.
And we've seen a few videos where they say, oh yeah, it's great, it's
Yeah.
fantastic, it's the first teleconverter that's really good. But
Well, there's a lot of respected YouTubers that really
Yeah.
hold this.
yeah, who will remain nameless. Perhaps it's me, perhaps it's us, but so far, been a little bit disappointed in it.
Let's give it a good test today,
Okay,
and then we can proper pixel peep it
Yeah.
in Lightroom.
as you do, because that's important.
Because then there's the 2 point. Obviously, the 2 times would be lesser quality than this.
Yeah,
You'd think.
yeah. Anyway, let's see how it gets on with this so far.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go.
And we'll report back at the end.
Yes.
So on the left again we have the 70-200 2.8 at 2.8, and on the right we have the teleconverter at f4. Obviously the starting positions are a lot different because of the 1.4. So you think you'd have a good advantage when cropping in, but let's have a look. So the 70-200 is cropped in at 200%. The teleconverter is cropped in at 150%. I would say there's hardly anything between them. Let's have a crop down. They're more or less identical, I would say. So it shows that you can crop in really far with the native lens. I don't think you can crop in much more with the teleconverter. So if you're cropping at 200% the same as the native lens, it's not a usable image. It's distorted. Whereas the native lens is already at 200%. Maybe you can go about 250 before it starts. Yeah, so about 225% is a usable image. So in this example, the native lens is better. The teleconverter has added no sharpness and you can't get any closer because you can't crop in as far. I would also mention that the native lens has a more accurate circle. The shape's maintained its shape there, whereas on the teleconverter it's kind of warped it. It's a bit of a strange shape there on the edges, I would say. So now I'm using the native lens, the 2.8 at f4, to copy the teleconverter, which is f4. So again, the native lens is at 225% crop and the teleconverter is at 160. And I would say the native lens isn't really much sharper than using it at 2.8, maybe a tad sharper. So this is comparing the native 70-200 2.8 with the 50-250. And on the full body lens it's about 375, I believe. So obviously a massive advantage in getting closer at the starting point. And I would say the native lens, the 70-200, has the better image there. It's a bit softer on the 250. So then we'll have a quick comparison between the teleconverter on the left and the 250 on the right. I would say that the teleconverter's done a better job here. There's not much in it. Interesting, they're both kind of warped the circle a bit. Okay, so this is going to compare the background drop, the bokeh, and how it compresses the background. So the native lens on the left again at 2.8, and it is a nice picture, has a nice bokeh there. And on the right we have the teleconverter. Obviously you have to stand a bit further back, so obviously the focal length is a bit higher. And it does change the background a bit. The bokeh's nice still, possibly even more blurring of the background there because of the focal length, even at f4. Here's a closer view of the bokeh, and yeah, there's hardly anything in it. I wouldn't say there was different or better. Now this is to compare the 250 lens on the right here, and obviously the bokeh was a lot different because it's at 6.3, and Lars had to stand really far away to get the same composition. Obviously not ideal for a zoom lens when you want to be directing the subject. But again, they're not displeasing. They all kind of work in their separate ways, I think. Here's all three of them next to each other. They're all pleasing. I would say the teleconverter has a slightly better bokeh there. The 2.8 is just as nice. And even the 350 is okay. So this is the test using the Z7 now, compared to the Z6 before, just to compare the difference. And this is shooting at 6.3 and 6.3 on the teleconverter. So as you can see, there's hardly any difference between them. You can crop in so far with the native lens and it holds its quality. I would say the teleconverter has a slight edge on this one, slightly. In some aspects, but not all aspects actually, it still looks fine. So this is comparing the 250 lens on the Z7 on the right with the native 7200. When you crop in, there's hardly any difference again at maximum crop. Here's the example of the edges. I'd say the 7200 is fine, it's not hardly any difference.
So there we go.
Do we? There we've gone.
There we've gone. Would you recommend the 1.4 teleconverter to your friends, family and the audience?
Have I wasted my money? That's my question.
Have you wasted your money?
I have a horrible feeling I have. Looking at all the comparisons, what is the point?
We've
What is the
tested
point?
it before as well. We were surprised from the start, but
Yeah.
we keep on finding the same results.
Yeah, I keep on hoping to see a benefit.
That lens is so good, 7200,
good.
you can crop in and to equal this,
Yeah,
and it's the same detail.
yeah. I just can't see the point. You know, I'm so tempted to sell it, but then I've like used it only a few times and I'd be taking a drop on it if I part X it. But I'm hoping, as I said I think in the intro, that when they bring some newer lenses out that you can use that with, might find a benefit down the line.
So the point is, it doesn't add, you can't get extra reach with it.
No.
So that's what its job is. Its only job is to add extra reach,
Yeah.
and there's no extra reach
Yeah.
with it.
No.
So the 2x is going to be worse than this, but you'll get extra reach, but you'll be worse, so maybe this crop will be the same anyway.
Yeah. You know, it's
Strange because, like you said,
disappointing. Basically.
we love the Z body, we love the
Love
Z
it.
lens. We've swapped all our equipment because it's that good.
Yeah.
This is the only one that's disappointed
Yeah.
us.
So
You'd think that adding to a great lens with a new Z
Yeah.
teleconverter, you'd think that it would add to
Yeah.
the greatness, but it
Yeah.
hasn't. You could say that the other advantage is, like other YouTubers have said, is that without cropping you have a bigger resolution file to be able to do big prints with.
Yeah. Okay, but all right. I mean,
I'm just surprised though.
on screen you can't see a difference.
You know,
for instance.
other famous YouTubers have reviewed this.
Famous.
Respectable. And I've come
Yeah,
out with, that's why you got it. That's why we were both really excited to use this, wasn't it?
They're now infamous now in my book.
I just can't get over. It's just useless. Is it useless?
It sounds harsh, doesn't it?
It does, but it is.
But yeah, I wouldn't. What would I lose by not using it? I can't.
You
This
wouldn't-
is
you
so
wouldn't gain
good.
anything.
It's a beautiful lens.
In fact,
You can crop really well with it.
you're losing out by using this. You're losing the 2.8 depth of field.
Yeah, because it takes it to
and you're
f4.
Yeah, and you're losing the ISO because you have to go high ISO because the f4.
Yeah,
So you're losing two things, and you're gaining the weight and the size and the £500.
it's beautifully made for
It
what
is.
it's worth. It's a nice piece of
It
equipment.
feels nice.
but
It looks nice.
It looks
It's got-
great.
even got a nice weight to it.
It's going to collect dust, I think, now. Oh no!
But instead of spending £500 on that, if you want to go wildlife at the moment,
Oh, here we go.
the DX lens
Da-da-da.
50 to 250, which is about 375 on the full frame bodies.
Yes, it is. Yeah. I thought you were on about the price of it then. Yeah, 375 millimetres, yeah.
I got this for about 250 used,
Yeah.
and obviously it's good to extend a lot, but it's 375.
Yeah, it's a great lens.
It did what I wanted. It's really
And this
good.
on the teleconverter is 10 times as much as that.
Yeah.
And it doesn't go to 375, it only goes to 280.
I mean, that was a bit sharper once you cropped in slightly.
Yeah.
This is 200, 300%. So if you're after a cheap wildlife lens at the moment, this is the one to get. I recommend it. I love it. Yeah, I mean, what's your experience of this? If you've had it or you've used it, if you've got it and you found really good results, we'd love to know.
Yeah. Please somebody tell me why I should use it, keep it, and show me the benefits of it, because I just can't see them, sadly.
I'm almost tempted to get the 2 times just to see.
No, that'd be even worse, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah, so there's no way I'm spending another 500 quid on a teleconverter at the moment.
Why don't you trade this one and get the other one?
So lose 200 quid on that, say, get the other one, find out that's no better, and then lose another 200 quid on that one.
For our YouTube viewers, it's worth that
Worth
sacrifice.
it, yes, great investment.